Imagine a song you've known your entire life, like maybe the Happy Birthday to You song. Can you hear that song in your head even when there's complete silence in the room around you? Let's find out. Let's take a moment to hear that song together. If you can, try to hear just the tune without any words. How exactly you do that, I'll leave up to you. I'll give a countdown from 3 to 1, and then just let that Happy Birthday to You tune play in your mind. Afterwards, we're going to learn some really fascinating stuff from the experience. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, are you done? I hope I'm not interrupting you. Now the question I'd like to ask is, what exactly did you hear? Was it someone singing the song? Was it a piano playing, a clarinet, a guitar? Were there other instruments in addition to the main melody of the song? Maybe some drums or percussion, maybe a band or an orchestra. There's no wrong answer. For any number of people performing this experiment, it's likely they'll hear the song in that many different ways. Either a different voice or a different instrument, or maybe not a specific instrument at all, but a more nebulous kind of sound. But I'd like to pay attention not to the differences in the way we heard that song, but to the sames. What is the fundamental core makeup of that tune that allows us, you and me and everybody else, to recognize it as Happy Birthday? It's not the instrument you hear. And if you watched the music reading video in this series, you already know this. In that video, I played the opening to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony on the piano and the keyboard lick to My Name Is by Eminem. That music wasn't written for piano, but when you hear it on the piano, it's still instantly recognizable. So just what is that song fundamentally, even more fundamentally than the instrument you play it on? Well, it's at least two things. Rhythm patterns that have to do with the flow and weight of time and movement. Ba 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 ba. And tonal patterns. They have to do with the pitches you hear. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. When those tonal patterns and rhythm patterns are superimposed, you get something recognizable and unmistakable. Happy Birthday to You. Hearing those patterns and understanding the way they sound and function is what's known as audiation. It's a skill that you can learn, but not just from hearing somebody tell you about it. Instead, you'll learn it through experience and guidance, combined with your unique aptitudes. Audiation is the most foundational music skill you've never heard of. And if you have heard of it, it's likely that you heard an incomplete definition. If you Google audiation, or if you ask a music teacher what it means, you're likely to hear something about inner hearing. And by itself, that definition misses the point. I'll tell you what I mean. Inner hearing doesn't necessarily require understanding. For example, I can have inner hearing for people talking in French. I don't speak French, but I can recognize it as French. I can appreciate the beautiful sound of the language, but what I can't do is comprehend the discussion. I can't think in French. Well, audiation is to music what thinking is to language. I'll give you the full definition of audiation in just a minute, but first I'd like to prepare you just a little bit for how audiation relates to the other music concepts we've been discussing in these videos. Instrument technique, reading, and theory. If music is the air we breathe, audiation is flying through that air. Reading printed music might be analogous to reading a poem about flying. Music theory is studying aerodynamics. Instrumental technique is coaching about how to fly. Audiation is the flying itself. Audiation is your wings outstretched, flying through the air. I know I'm taking some poetic license there, but I really want to help you get out of that common way of thinking that you learn music by having it explained to you. For the most part, that's not how you learn. You learn music by doing music, starting with your personal understanding right now where you are today watching this video. And my course is designed to help you improve that understanding. So I know that if you want to scrutinize my flying analogy, you'll find areas where it breaks down, as all analogies do. But the point I really want to drive home is that your audiation is yours, and it's the foundation for learning music. Learning audiation should never be tedious. It's an adventure. When your audiation is your guide, you have the reins of your music journey. And it's exhilarating because this is your journey after all. And that should be the backdrop for everything else we talk about in this video. Let's talk some more about the song Happy Birthday to You. It's a song that's in almost every instrument lesson book available, but it's usually taught from a standpoint of telling you where to put your fingers on your instrument. That is not the same thing as understanding tonal patterns. That's simulating happy birthday, not learning happy birthday. You might have heard you need to count the beats to learn the rhythm for happy birthday, but counting beats is not the same thing as feeling yourself in flow with music. Trying to learn music this way is like trying to say sentences you don't understand. And I think failure to teach audiation is the primary reason many students leave music lessons feeling like they failed or feeling like music isn't interesting. Learning music should mean gaining tools to think with, not being told what to do. Audiation supports a lifetime of interest and enjoyment of music. And audiation supports technical skills, reading skills, and theory skills. In other words, it primes you for success with music on your own terms. The term audiation was coined by music learning researcher Edwin Gordon and his team. Gordon defines audiation as hearing with comprehension music that's physically present or may never have been. That's a little long-winded, as much of Gordon's writing can be, so the definition often gets shortened to just inner hearing. Even Google makes that mistake. But removing the comprehension part of the definition robs the word of its usefulness. So you can have inner hearing of a piece of music you're familiar with, like the song Happy Birthday. In the experiment we did earlier, you used your inner hearing to hear the song Happy Birthday. And that's part of audiation, but it's not the whole thing. Audiation means understanding the musical content. And understanding means being able to change things. Remember in school when they would test reading comprehension by asking you to read something and then to put it in your own words, to paraphrase it. Audiation means having the ability to make changes to music. For example, taking a major tune like Happy Birthday and singing or playing it in minor. Or to change the meter from triple to duple. And those are the skills my courses are designed to foster. Sometimes people ask me, what's the first instrument they should learn? Piano, guitar, drums? Well, the first instrument you should learn comes before all of those and enables you to play those and more. The instrument I'm talking about is your audiation instrument. Your audiation instrument is the way you understand chords and harmony and melody with your singing. Your audiation instrument is the way the rhythm of music moves your body, whether you've never had a lesson or you're a concert performer. Your audiation instrument is something you can train for the future, and it's also something you can cherish right now. Your audiation instrument is the foundation for any other instrument you can ever play. Trying to learn another instrument without audiation is like trying to build a house without the first floor. It's like learning to speak by changing the shape of your mouth to say words you don't understand. But think about how children learn to talk. They know what they want to say, so they figure out how to say the words, and they're unstoppable at doing that. Learning music without audiation is like trying to talk before you have anything to say. Kids learn to talk because they know what they want to say, and almost everyone does learn to talk. And a similar process works for learning music, even for adults. Instrument lessons often focus on the mechanical action of playing or the reading instead of the understanding. So while almost everyone learns to talk, I don't think it's all that rare for students to take music lessons but not learn music. At least not as rare as I'd like for it to be. More and more teachers are learning to teach audiation, and that's a trend I'd like to see continue growing. Every musician you've ever loved to listen to has found a path to train their audiation instrument. There's no one path to learning. However, when it comes to activities you can reliably use to learn audiation, there are a few things to look for. Content in context, vocabulary, and improvisation. And now I'd like to talk briefly about each of those three things.